everyone, I'm Himali Nalaude. I welcome you all on Security Scan Episode 8. News Bharti brings to you all a fresh analysis of every week's defense updates in line with India's national security, with the insightful eye of retired Brigadier Hemant Mahajan, YSM, on every Saturday in a live session. Unlike earlier episodes, for this one we'll be interacting with Brigadier Hemant Mahajan about the highlights of past week's defense updates. Hello, sir. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Glad to be on the show, Himali.
Starting with the most important update of past week, just when the world was mourning for Queen Elizabeth's demise, we had a breaking news coming in from LAC. Biggest breakthrough at the LAC came in recently when, after 16 rounds of Corps Commander level talks, on ground disengagement was initiated on both sides, that is, on the Indian as well as Chinese side, at the strategically important location of Friction Point PP-15 of Gogra Hot Springs. Please share your insights on the development.
See, what we must understand is, if I remember the dates correctly, it was in April 2020 that the Chinese intruded inside our area in Ladakh. Now, I must explain to the viewers as to what does the intrusions mean. They came inside at four places. Now, there are certain areas on the LAC. LAC stands for Line of Actual Control, which are termed as disputed, meaning these areas are actually a no man's land, and the Chinese and the Indian troops are on the either side of it. Meaning, in the disputed area, there are no Chinese troops permanently located, or there are no Indian Army troops which are permanently located. But what we do is we do carry out patrolling in the disputed areas. We carry it out and they carry it out. So sometimes we go, sometimes they come, but then you withdraw back outside the disputed area. So basically speaking, a disputed area remains like a no man's land where there is no deployment of armed forces of either of the countries. Now, what happened in April 2020 was when the Chinese came inside at four places. Hot Spring and Depsang is what you have spoken about, but where they're withdrawing now, today is 12th, and today I think the final withdrawal is taking place. The other two areas were Pengang, so Lake and Galwan Valley, etc. So that is where they came inside, and they did not go back. That means they had intruded in the disputed area. I repeat, intruded in the disputed area. So obviously, this was not acceptable to the Indian Army, and thereafter we started having talks with them, but it was of no use. They were playing a cat and mouse game. One would remember that on 14th of August, a clash took place in Galwan, Galwan Valley. Galwan is a valley. Galwanchu River is there, where they had said that they would go back from a point. And when the Indian Army commanding officer of 16 Bihar, Colonel Babu, Santosh Babu, went there to have a look at it physically, he found that the Chinese were still there and the Chinese attacked him. And in the ensuing battle that took place, which is called the Battle of Galwan, in which we lost 20 Indian soldiers, including Colonel Babu, and the Chinese lost more than 70 soldiers. This was a big bloody clash which took place for the first time after a long time, and the Chinese have shed blood on the international border first time after 1978. 1978 was the time when they had a battle, when they had a war with Vietnam, in which they lost a lot of soldiers. But after 78, there has been no blood that the Chinese have shed on their borders. Galwan was an exception, and this is the time when they shed a lot of blood. Remember, Chinese had prepared for the attack at Galwan, so therefore they had kept a lot of troops ready. And what the fight that took place there was actually a fight of a Stone Age, meaning in which no armed forces weapons were used, but the weapons they used were stones, sticks, etc. And however, Chinese were given a bloody nose, and they realized that it is not easy to match the Indian army in a physical combat. So after that, some discussion took place, and they withdrew from 2 points, that is in Galwan as well as in the area of Pangangso, etc. One would remember that after that, Indian army decided to go on the heights of Karakoram. That surprised the Chinese because it was a very aggressive action by the Indian army. But staying at those heights of 18,000 feet, where there's a perpetual snow of about 25, 30 feet, was not easy. So we decided to come back. Thereafter, a number of rounds took place without any movement on going back on the remainder 2 points. And now, as you said in the beginning, now they have agreed to go back, and the situation now after 12th of September would be what it was before 5th of April, meaning Chinese and Indian armed forces would occupy those points which they had occupied before the intrusion took place. So this is actually a big victory as far as India is concerned. But remember, how do we look at this victory? Frankly speaking, they came in our area and now they've gone back, and now we claim it to be, we say it's a victory. While it's a victory in a sense that they have gone back, but the point remains that they are still capable of carrying out problems for you, but again, including in the some areas, because till the time the border dispute is resolved, till the time, let us say, we agree on what is the actual line of actual control, this kind of situations can arise in the future, and Chinese basically use these intrusions to put military pressure on India that you please toe our line. And what is that they want now from India, and why did they withdraw now? There are two, three main reasons why they withdrew now. After the 16th round of talk, one reason is that SCO meeting is going to take place in a short while. I think within a week or so. SCO stands for Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So that is where the Chinese want that the Indian Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi should attend that, and if preferably they would want him to meet the Chinese Prime Minister Xi Jinping. So this is one reason why they have tried to be a bit friendly than required. Secondly, what they want is now in the month of October, if I remember the dates correctly, there's going to be an election. There's going to be a meeting of the CCP. CCP stands for Chinese Communist Party, in which it is expected that Xi Jinping, the Prime Minister of China, will get elected as a leader for lifetime. Meaning, it's a very, very important occasion for CCP or Xi Jinping to become a leader even stronger than Mao Zedong, who was considered the strongest leader of the China as a country. So, therefore, to have a smooth path for Xi Jinping, they want to show that they have been able to subdue India. But India said nothing doing. Presently, we are not going to talk of normalization of relation till the time the boundary issue is resolved. Because what the Chinese want from us is Chinese will keep on threatening us, will keep on troubling us by various means, what we call as hybrid war. But India should continue to carry out economic trade with them because they are very fond of India's market, which is the third biggest in the world in terms of PPP, that is purchasing power parity. We are the third biggest market in the world. So therefore, it is very attractive to a country like China, which is basically a manufacturing nation. So SCO meeting using our markets and ensuring that Xi Jinping becomes a president, prime minister for lifetime. Therefore, they have got withdrawn from this. But Indian position is very, very clear. Till the time the border is resolved, the relations are not going to be normal. The fact of the matter is, China will play that cat and mouse game, will use other means. And I'll just give you one example of this cat and mouse game. About a month back or a month and a half back, the Chinese intruded in the area of Bhutan. Now, mind you, Bhutan is an independent country, so any intrusion in Bhutan, it doesn't really affect us, but it is near the Doklam Plateau. The Doklam Plateau is a place where borders of three countries, that is Bhutan, China, and India, meet. And one would remember that few years back we had a Doklam crisis. So now they have carried out an intrusion in the Bhutan area. So therefore, they are not very innocent. As far as their sincerity is concerned, they are very, very clear that they want India to listen to what they are saying. So we will have to be very firm and we will have to use all means at our disposal to protect our national interest. Chinese mischiefs will continue, and we have to ensure that it is stopped once and for all by carrying out strong actions in whichever field where they keep on troubling us.
Yes, sir. So we'll move on to our next topic from India's internal security. Three madrasas have been demolished by now in Assam's Golpara district, and around 40 persons have been arrested related to ABT and AQIS terrorist groups. few of whom were imams of mosques, and some were running the madrasas that were recently demolished. So, is this an isolated incident or it has a history that goes back? Please disclose the matter for our viewers from the defense point of view.
So illegal madrasas are actually dens of radicalizing the youth who take part in lot of anti-national activities. So therefore, they have to be registered properly. It has to be ensured that they do not carry out any anti-national activity. And today it is happening at a very regular interval. And in most madrasas, the teachers who are coming there are not Assamese teachers or not from the northeast. They're coming from outside, and they're being funded by terror organizations. They're funded by many other NGOs, etc. So all the unregistered illegal madrasas must be stopped from functioning, and anybody who's running them must be punished under the laws of the land. And secondly, these people, the Bangladeshis who come inside, the number is as large as 4 to 5 crores. Nearly 90% of them have all the documents required, meaning an Aadhaar card, a voter's card, a PAN card, etc. Now, one has to ensure that these people are detected under the National Register Citizen, under the National Population Register, and anybody who is an illegal migrant has to be detected, punished under the Indian laws, and deported to Bangladesh. Very recently, just I think 2 or 3 days back, Bangladesh's Prime Minister Hasina Wazir was in India, and all newspapers wrote editorials on that, saying that the relations between India and Bangladesh are improving. They are absolutely correct up to a point, but the point is the most important issue of illegal Bangladeshis who are inside India was not even talked about in the public domain and not even reported by the media. This is the most important. People are now going gaga. Some English newspapers, we must give them water. We should be more generous with them. After all, the Tista water must be given, etc., etc. This is while giving water and all is okay up to a point. There's no problem because water must be shared equally, especially when rivers flow from one country into another. But the fact is, the most important issue in India-Bangladesh relations is basically the illegal migration, which is prohibitive. I mean, it is 5 crores. One would remember that 1971 war took place simply because 90 lakh East Pakistanis or Bangladeshis had come to India. So we went to war for that. And now today we have 5 crore Bangladeshis in our country and they continue to infiltrate and we are not going to go for a war with them. So a combination of madrasas, a combination of mosques, a combination of anti-national elements on the Indo-Bangladesh border is creating a situation of serious law and order. This must be stopped and these people must be detected illegal Bangladeshis and they must be deported to Bangladesh. And Bangladesh should be told very clearly, while we will continue to have good economic cooperation with you, but you must take these illegal Bangladeshis back. There should be no doubt on this issue. And the last point is, along with them, today a lot of Rohingyas have also come inside. The number that is quoted by the security agencies is in the region of 50 lakh, 50,000. I stand corrected, and they have gone to states as far as Kerala, Jammu Kashmir, etc. So this also must be stopped because that's a serious threat to India's national security. So we must use a stick and carrot policy with Bangladesh. If you want Tista water, you want Meghna water, then you will have to behave by taking these people back and ensure that they do not come back after this. And not only that, actually, I must try and I'm not trying to build a very pessimistic picture right now. But one important development I want to bring to your notice and to everybody who's listening to the broadcast that in another few years, because of global warming, the water level is going to rise in the sea. And on the Bangladesh coastline, there's an area called Sundarban. I repeat, area called Sundarban, which is basically an area where Ganga, Brahmaputra, Meghna meet the Bay of Bengal and where a lot of islands are formed. Now, this complete area of Sundarban, you look at the map, is going to go underwater in another next 5 to 10 years. I repeat, another 5 to 10 years, this area will go under water because the water is rising. And the most important part thereafter is there are 2 crore Bangladeshis who are living there. Now tell me, where will these 2 crore Bangladeshis go? Absolutely no marks for guessing it correctly. They will come to India, and lot of Bangladeshi illegal migration is taking place not only through the land border but also from the sea. I repeat, also from the sea. We have to tighten our coastal security. If you read newspapers of West Bengal states or newspapers from Orissa, you will find that these coastal areas of West Bengal and Orissa are flooded with illegal Bangladeshis. So even they must be detected and must be deported back.
That is very true, sir. You have put forth a very important point that these illegal immigrations that take place, they go unaddressed on national policy level. So, moving on to our next question, it is about our neighbor Pakistan. So, Pakistan has been devastated by floods so much that the Pakistan government had to announce a national emergency. The floods have drained the country's economy that was already in a very critical condition. Desperate for survival, Pakistan is now looking for help from India and considering imports that were initially barred by the Pakistan government. How is all this going to impact the Indian economy?
See, today Pakistan is in dire strait. Most people call Pakistan as a failed state. Have completely failed. Now, today, if you look at their internal situation, what is happening today is there is a Geo Sindh movement which is going on in the Sindh province. If you have a map of Pakistan, there are 5 major states that are there in Pakistan: Sindh, Balochistan, Northwest Frontier Province, Punjab, and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, etc. Now, all these states of Pakistan, there's an independence movement that is going on. Since the state of Pakistan wants to secede from Pakistan, the most violent are the Baluchis. They have groups like Baluchistan Liberation Army, etc., who are attacking the China-Pakistan economic corridor. Then you have the Northwest Frontier Province, which is basically an area where Pathans are located, Pathans or Pakhtuns or Pashtuns. And Pathan is a community which is almost 45% in Afghanistan also. The Pathans are divided on the either side of Durand line, which is basically a border line between Pakistan and Afghanistan. There are Pathans and Pashtuns in Afghanistan, and their lot of relations are in Pakistan also. So Balochistan wants to go away. Northwest Frontier Province wants to join Pakistan and wants to join Afghanistan, and there's an unrest which is going on in Pakistani occupied Kashmir also. And it is at this point of time very heavy rainfall and serious flooding has taken place in Pakistan. What we have to understand is that all the mighty rivers from India enter into Pakistan, the west flowing rivers, that is the Indus or the Sindhu River, then you have the Satluj, you have the Ravi, you have the Bias, you have the Jhelum, etc. So 5 rivers which from Punjab and Himachal Pradesh and Jammu and Kashmir enter into Pakistan. Now these are all a very mighty rivers, heavy rainfall. They are perennial rivers because melting snow also puts water in them. And to add to the Pakistani problems, what has happened is that heavy rainfalls have taken place in Pakistan, thereby this river getting flooded and all the dams have overflown. So today it is expected that almost 20 to 25% of Pakistan is underwater. The number of people killed is in thousands. Number of houses damaged are in about 80 lakhs or 90 lakhs. Such number is there. So the fertile area around the river valleys is actually an area which provides food security to Pakistan. It is a granary of growing various crops in Pakistan. Now that farming is completely washed away. So Pakistan today is flooded with water and their complete agriculture has been destroyed. Now, even before this, the inflation rate in Pakistan was one of the highest in the world. Pakistan today is one of the most highly indebted country. Today, if I remember the statistics correctly, up till now they have taken 16 loans from Pakistan, for correction from IMF, that is International Monetary Fund, and they are going for another one. They take loans to repay the earlier loans. So their economy is completely in doldrums. If I have to explain to you in one line, the expenditure which Pakistan incurs on the Pakistani army and the expenditure which Pakistan incurs on running various governments, be it central or be it state, is more than their budget. Meaning, the Pakistani government is funding the Pakistani army by taking loans. No country can afford this kind of a thing. So, IMF, the World Organization, is saying that if you want loan from us on soft terms, you have to ensure that your budgeting system is improved. You reduce your budget of Pakistani army, etc., which Pakistan is still not willing to do. Pakistan thought China will help them. China is not helping them monetarily. It thought that the OIC countries, that is Organization of Islamic Countries, will help them. They are not helping. Saudi Arabia is not helping them. Iran is not helping them. So they are in dire state. So therefore, the only people who can help them are the world financial institutions like the World Bank and the IMF. But World Bank gives loans for long term, while short term loans are given only by the IMF. So IMF loan is a necessity for them. So there's a huge problem. Now, in this time, Pakistan minister himself had said that we would want to import vegetables, etc., from India simply because geographically India and Pakistan have a joint border, and India's granary producing states like Punjab, etc., are very close to Pakistan. So it would have been very cheap for Pakistan to import food grains, vegetables, milk, etc., from India. But what happens is India exports this to countries like UAE, Gulf countries, and the Gulf countries in turn give it back to Pakistan. But their enmity towards India is so much that after some time this proposal was dropped by Pakistan, and India itself is not very keen simply because we find that maybe we will sell these grains at a much higher profit to the European countries rather than giving it to Pakistan, etc. So therefore, we have also not pursued this matter further. But the fact remains that Pakistanis are hungry today. There's a problem of almost anything and everything in Pakistan. Economy is in doldrums. But even despite this, now their foreign, I'll just give you two examples. One is their Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif, who's the brother of the earlier Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, keeps on saying that we want to improve our relations with India. But while he says this, on ground, there are a number of terrorists who are waiting to infiltrate into India. Secondly, their Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto, who is the son of earlier Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto, he goes for a he goes for a meeting to get a foreign aid for Pakistan. And what does he discuss there? He discusses everything except foreign aid. He raises the Kashmir issue. Just imagine how funny it is. What they require is money, and he is very happy in raising the Kashmir issue, knowing fully well that he'll get no money. So basically, he is trying to play to his constituency. देखो मैंने जाके वहाँ पे कश्मीर issue raise कर लिया, and I have done my job. While his main job was to procure loans so that the country is able to overcome the financial crisis. So their obsession with Kashmir is so much, despite facing natural and man-made disasters, they are still not willing to live in a normal way, and they still want to, create problems for India. So therefore, improvement of India-Pakistan relations is going to be a long-drawn affair. Last 75 years, I mentioned it earlier also, various prime ministers, right from Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru to Lal Bahadur Shastri to Srimati Indira Gandhi to Dr. Manmohan Singh, tried to become friends with Pakistan without any success at all. And even the present Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, one would remember that the day he was coronated as the Prime Minister of India, he had invited Nawaz Sharif for his oath-taking ceremony, thinking that possibly it will improve the relations with Pakistan. And in fact, one would remember that he even went to attend the marriage of Nawaz Sharif's granddaughter, hoping that a personal touch will possibly improve relations between India and Pakistan. But it did not happen. It is not likely to happen. Pakistan is not likely to change in short to medium terms. It will continue to carry out inimical action against India, including infiltrating terrorists in our country. So we have to be ready for long haul. And Pakistan, many people feel that Pakistan may possibly break, Pakistan may fail. But the point at issue is that the OIC countries and America to some extent help them to keep their neck above water, because if Pakistan breaks, they fear that it will create a situation like Afghanistan, etc. So therefore, they are worried. So the future of India-Pakistan relationship, there's absolutely no scope of any improvement. Pakistan will continue to be inimical to India.
Right, sir. So, no matter how severely hit the country is, the attempts of Pakistani infiltration along LOC into the Indian side are still on a high. And according to what updates have come recently, the Indian Army has certainly taken good care of the infiltrators. But what is this matter? Why are we suddenly seeing such desperate attempts of infiltrations that had remarkably lowered since the last 2 years? So,
See, what happens is that as Pakistan requires to carry out infiltration at regular intervals, because they have calculated that today, if you look at the terrorism in Kashmir, Kashmir can broadly be divided into three parts. Leh, Ladakh, though of course it's not a part of Kashmir anymore, but there is no terrorism there at all. The second part of Kashmir is the area south of Pir Panjal, which is the area of Jammu, Udhampur, Punch, Rajouri, etc. There is no resident terrorism which is there. Terrorists are today confined to what is called as the Kashmir Valley, which is basically a valley of the Jhelum River. It's approximately 130 kilometers long and about 30 to 40 kilometers it is in the breadth. So it is confined to this place, and the number of terrorists here are appreciated to be between 200 to 250. Indian Army keeps on carrying out anti-terrorist operations regularly, and on an average 300 350 terrorists are killed every year. Now, the moment terrorists are killed, if they are not replaced by fresh terrorists from outside, terrorism will die. Now, presently, 60 70% of the terrorists in Kashmir Valley are the locals, but you do require 30 35% of terrorists who must come from outside, because Kashmiris do not make good terrorists. They are soft as far as terrorism is concerned, while the ones who come from Pakistan are have more fighting spirit, and they are the ones who provide leadership. So basically, infiltration is carried out to replace the terrorists which have been killed by Indian Army. So therefore, they'll continue to do it. Secondly, what you must understand is that on an average, 90 to 95% of the terrorists get eliminated on the line of control itself by the Indian Army, which is carrying out anti infiltration operations. But because the area is completely forested, heavy snowfall, heavy rainfall, foggy area with no lights at all, so therefore, some infiltration up to 5% does succeed in getting inside the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Our efficiency of stopping is about 95%, but 5% does get inside. So they are the ones who actually replace the terrorists who have been killed or who have been wounded. So they have to keep a minimum strength of about 200, 250 in the Kashmir Valley. If the strength falls below that, then possibly terrorism in Kashmir will die down. Pakistan also uses another methods to increase the strength there. What happens is they get terrorists, the important one, that is, they fly to Kathmandu, which is the capital of Nepal, and from there they infiltrate on the Indo-Nepal land border, and from there they come inside Kashmir. So there are multiple methods the Pakistanis use to let's say improve the strength of terrorists in Kashmir Valley. But of course, major route obviously is by the LOC, because it is the shortest route. So Pakistan will continue to do this. And also, what you must remember, we are already in the month of September. By October end, which is about a month and a half from now, uh, snowfall will start on the higher reaches of the LOC, especially heights above 8,000, 9,000 feet. And in the month of November, December, even the lower heights of Kashmir, it will be snow. There will be a snowfall, including areas of Punch and Rajouri. So Pakistan today has a window of just about 1.5 to 2 months available in which to make up the strength of terrorists which have been killed by the Indian army. So therefore, next 1.5 months are crucial for Pakistani army to infiltrate terrorists into India. And this is exactly what they're doing because if they are not successful, then possibly terrorism in Kashmir Valley will go on a all-time low.
Right. So as you mentioned, there are multiple tracks that the infiltrators follow to get access into India. So there is a systematic track of terrorism that runs between Pakistan and Afghanistan as well, and in turn, it has been affecting India. So there are regions of Pakistan and Afghanistan that have been opposing the matter, but it continues to exist. So please explain what this matter is to our viewers.
See, actually, when you talk of Afghanistan and Pakistan, it is actually called as AFPAK or Afghanistan and Pakistan because the roots of terrorism lie in this area. Now, very broadly, one would remember that last year the Afghani government was sacked. I mean, they lost, and the Talibanis took over power, and the American army ran away from there, and the country's rulers became Taliban. So this happened about a year plus back, and it was considered by Pakistan as the biggest military victory they ever scored, simply because Pakistani army had helped the Afghani Talibanis hell of a lot, and mind you, they won Afghanistan without firing actually a bullet because Americans don't want casualties, so they just ran away, leaving behind weapons worth $3 or $4 billion. Now, when the Talibanis came into power, Pakistan thought that they will be able to use Taliban to foment trouble inside India, especially in Kashmir, because Talibanis are very good fighters and they make very good terrorists. In fact, it has been said that Afghanistan traditionally has been a graveyard of superpowers. In the 19th century, Great Britain or England or United Kingdom, which was a superpower, and it was said that the sun never set itself on the British Empire, tried to enter Afghanistan. They fought 4 wars in Afghanistan over a period of 10 years, but they lost the war and went back. So first superpower was defeated by the Afghanis in the 19th century. Then thereafter in 1980s, USSR, that is the erstwhile Russia, they were superpower. They had a very strong army. They entered Afghanistan. 10 years they fought in Afghanistan, and the Russian troops were all battle hardened. They had taken part in Second World War. They had fought one of the bloodiest battles at Stalingrad, Leningrad, etc. Their commanders had a tremendous war experience, people like Marshal Zhukov, etc. But this battle-hardened army having all the big weapons, knowing good tactics, etc., lost its war in Afghanistan, and then they went back. And then came the 9/11. One would remember that America entered Afghanistan in 2013, saying that they want to finish off Al Qaeda and their other affiliates, etc. And last year they ran away without being able to eliminate Al Qaeda. So three superpowers have been defeated by the Afghanis in last 100 years plus. The same Talibanis have been coming to India in Kashmir at a regular intervals, but the Indian army has been able to kill them and ensure that they did not create any did not create any problems for India. But the now the Taliban and Pakistan relations, instead of improving, have deteriorated for two main reasons. One is the Durand line. Durand line is the boundary between Afghanistan and Pakistan. Afghanistan does not accept it. Pakistan says you should accept it. Secondly, there's a group called TTP, which stands for Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, which has its basis in Afghanistan, and they have their people in Pakistani side also. Now, this group wants the area of Northwest Frontier Province to basically join Afghanistan because the people there are all are Pathans or Pashtuns or Pakhtuns. So therefore, they want a part of Pakistan to join Afghanistan. Now, obviously, Pakistan would not want their one of the states to go away and join Afghanistan. So there's a big fight which is going on between Afghanistan, Pakistan, and the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan. Pakistan put pressure on Afghanistan to say that you please catch these people, let them not carry out any terrorist activities, etc. But it has not helped. They also carried out a ceasefire with TTP, hoping that they will behave, but it has not helped because TTP is a very strong group and it keeps on attacking the Pakistani army and keeps on killing them in large numbers. So there are a lot of disputes between Pakistan and Afghanistan. But when Afghanistan was created, Taliban came into power. Pakistan thought that they will get a strategic depth into Afghanistan should a war take place between India and Pakistan, meaning they can go inside Pakistan and continue to fight from there. Instead of Pakistan getting a strategic depth in Afghanistan, it is Afghanistan which has got a strategic depth in Pakistan. So the loser, I mean, all the disadvantages have come to Pakistan. Now today, if I remember the numbers correctly, almost 25, 30 lakh Afghani refugees are in Pakistan, putting tremendous pressure in the northwest frontier provinces. So Taliban coming to power has actually not helped Pakistan at all, and it has only created financial problems for them, problems of terrorism, problems of international relations, etc. So therefore, Pakistan has been the loser. But in the quicksands of Afghanistan and Pakistan, policies and views keep on changing. So what will the future bring? One is not certain at this point of time, but it is very, very clear that this region is going to be extremely be unstable in the days to come because of Taliban government itself is not a cohesive government. The non-Pashtunis in that area, the Kazakhis, the Kyrgyz, the Uzbek, etc., who are a part of Afghanistan, do not have representation in the government. Not only that, there are infighting going on between the various groups, especially the Haqqani network, which is Pakistani supported terror groups, which is supposed to be the most powerful. So the loyalties there are not at a national level, it is sub-regional, it is as per the tribes, it is as per the warlords, etc. So we are going to see further instability in Pakistan, that instability getting into Afghanistan, Pakistan in that area. So we see what is very very clear is that this region is going to be an epicenter of terrorism, be it Al Qaeda, be it ISIS, be it Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, or be it anybody, especially the groups like Lashkar-e-Toiba, Hizbul Mujahid, Jaish-e-Mohammed, which are acting against India. So we have to ensure that we also get into Afghanistan, create a good intelligence network there, and ensure that Pakistani mischiefs from the Afghan soil are kept to minimum. It's a complex situation, but up till now we have managed the situation well, and I'm sure in the days to come also, Pakistan and Afghanistan will not be able to create a problem in our Jammu and Kashmir, Himali.
Right, sir. Thank you so much for your time and your insights as well. That was it for this episode. Hope to see you all in the live session with Brigadier Mahajan every Saturday at 11 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you and Jai Hind.